I think I got it all. Hold on one second. Here we go. Resume. All righty. Here we go, everybody. Welcome to TMS on a Monday. It begins in 3, 2, 1.
We put Kareem Abdul-Jabbar up against Atari basketball.
Oh, man, what a move.
We let Mario Andretti test drive Atari Night Driver.
This game really cracks me up.
And the great Pele himself tested Pele's championship soccer.
What a gig, it beats me again.
At Atari, we take our games seriously, so you have more fun.
How'd you do, Kareem?
I'm glad I won't face Atari in the playoffs.
I got something better than money.
The morning stream. He's taking a dump in a can.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to TMS. It's the morning stream for October 14th, 2024. I'm Scott Johnson, and that's Brian Ibbett. Hi, Brian.
Oh, hi, Scott.
Oh, hi. Oh, hi. You wouldn't even know that Brian was gone all weekend at a really cool thing, playing pinball and video games and seeing people.
You wouldn't know.
You wouldn't know. You could tell us that now, and we could say, you're lying, and there's no way to prove it. I mean, it does seem like, because you and I had very little communication over the weekend, it just felt like normal weekend. Brian's somewhere, but then, no, you were halfway across the country doing fun stuff.
Film Sack listeners know.
Oh,
but TMS listeners who don't listen to Film Sack wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Went to Houston for the Houston Arcade Expo. I kept trying to remember what the name of this thing was, because it's not the Texas Pinball Festival, which we've been to before. But even though it's the, I guess it just says Arcade Expo, so it doesn't say more video games than pinball machines, because it wasn't. It was very similar in setup to the Texas Pinball Festival. I'd say a good 2/3 of the floor was still pinball machines, which is great.
That's great. I would have thought it'd be a higher ratio of arcade games at that time.
Arcade.
Yeah.
Fewer, still a good section of arcade games. There were some that I was looking for. I was like, all right, no, I did not see a single Tempest. But I did play some. I know. Yeah, it's all right. That's good. I can play that anytime I want. It's right there.
That's true. Look at it right there, right behind you. Plug that in. Right go. There.
Yeah. But I did play some Quicks. I haven't played Quicks on an arcade machine in a long time, and forgot how much fun that was. Completed one level, and that's it, because I tried to get a little too aggressive with creating the really long, tall divider to divide the board up.
Yep.
I saw Food Fight, did not play any Food Fight, but I did play a ton of pinball and played the brand new X-Men game that's kind of inspired by X-Men 97. There's some stuff in there that's not, it doesn't look exactly like the new Disney Plus series or anything like that, but definitely inspired more by that than by the comics or the movies.
Kind of that color scheme and the costume schemes and all that. Yeah,
exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, and oh my God, it's fun. It's one of these that I really like, because it's got a lot of missions, so it doesn't feel like, all right, knock down these 4 targets, then knock down these 6 targets, and then that lights this spinner up, and then you got to go up this ramp, and da-da-da-da. It's like, all right, you're Storm, and you're fighting against Pyro, so you got to put out all of the fires all around the city that Pyro is starting, and so the targets that you want to hit are all lit up with red, and it gives you a different angle to try and hit all those things. And then this other one is stop the Juggernaut, and he's breaking down these, so you got to hit these 3 ramps and stop the Juggernaut. It's really cool. It adds an extra level of challenge to it.
Is it this one also, I just put a link for in the chat? Is this the one? The
let's
Stern?
See. If it's from Stern, this is it. Yeah, this is the new hotness.
Ooh, nice. Look at that big Sentinel head in there. I like that.
Big Sentinel head, and depending on which, they have 2 or 3 different models, or 3, I guess, Pro, Premium, and Limited Edition. Depending on which version you have, either the Sentinel head stays up if you have the Pro version, but if it's Premium, then you have to hit some targets for the Sentinel head to rise out from the case, from the playfield.
Oh, wow.
And then you can start attacking it. Also played a lot of Labyrinth. They have a new Labyrinth pinball machine, and that's put together by a company called Barrels of Fun, who actually have headquarters in Houston, not too far from where the expo was. And so as part of this, we also bought tickets for a tour of the facility, and we saw the process of them making these labyrinth games and building a pinball machine basically from scratch, right? Because you've got this kind of assembly line setup of people who only work on one specific thing for about an hour for the pinball machine, and then they move that along to the next guy, and then the next guy does this sort of thing. So typical assembly line, but when you're actually seeing what they have to do in process, it's fascinating. These people only work on wires. Like, they have a setup like, all right, for this game, we know we need 43 clusters of wires, and this one cluster has 3 of these red ones and 3 of these blue ones, and they get plugged into this other thing, and then this other one has, this wire harness on it, and da-da-da-da. Then one guy completely checks the play field to make sure there's no printing issues, and they have a whole wall of like, nope, this one has a printing issue, it goes on the wall.
I noticed they didn't pay for the Sarah license. They only paid for the David Bowie license.
Let me talk about that, because I asked that very question, and there's a very good answer to it. Well, I'll get to it in a second. So each machine takes about 22 hours to produce, so over the course of a week, with all the different hands that are touching it. But they actually put out a machine, complete a machine about every 40 minutes, so about 10 a day that they get done. And they're doing a limited run of 1,100 of these. And it's a really, really cool, again, who's their very robust game. A lot of stuff.
Who's their primary customer when they do that? When they're pumping these out like that? Is it just arcades? Is it like bars?
It's a mix of collectors and arcades and bars. And
you have to find out how much that is for a table.
About $8,000, $9,000.
Woo!
Yeah, it's it ain't cheap.
No, that is not cheap. Although I'll have to admit, I think that's a little cheaper than I would have expected. I was thinking $12,000 or something for some reason.
Oh yeah, no. Even that X-Men one we were looking at, I don't know how much the limited edition one is, but the premium, I think the premium is $9,400. So it ain't cheap. There's a lot of stuff.
Chunk of change,
a lot of stuff in there.
Whew.
Yeah. So let's talk about Sarah and Jennifer Connelly here, because I asked did a little Q&A session at the end of the tour, and I'm like, so I noticed that Jennifer Connelly's likeness is not in this thing. How come she's not in here? None of the videos show her. None of the art on the cabinet or on the playfield show her.
Yeah.
And he says, well, actually, it's because we want you to have her experience instead of watching her experience. We want you to be her in this game. And so you're going through the labyrinth. You're trying to rescue Toby. You're encountering all the goblins and the Goblin King and that sort of thing. And there is an Easter egg on the back glass where you've got Bowie holding up the ball, the crystal ball with the labyrinth shown inside there. There is a little shadow of Sarah over in the bottom right or bottom left corner.
Oh, nice.
Really
so that
cool.
sounds like dual purpose to me. That sounds like, well, Jennifer Connelly is not only alive, but also that's a lot of extra money we'd have to pay in licensing. So also, wouldn't it be cool if we did this game as if it was from the perspective of Sarah?
I mean, the way, because I asked it like that. I said, so Jennifer Connelly didn't want her license in this thing, or didn't agree to have her likeness in here. And he's like, oh no, it was purely this decision to make it your experience. Whether that's true or not, sure, who knows. But the guy that I talked to, I was talking to him directly as opposed to like in a big audience full of people. He came over and was talking like 4 of us, and I asked him about it.
Yeah.
But who knows? Because there's a lot of people like we figured out that Harrison Ford is probably represented on the most pinball machines between Star Wars and Indiana Jones and all those things.
Yeah.
And initially that first Indiana Jones machine from like the mid 90s had a person on the back glass that wasn't quite Harrison Ford because they didn't pay for his likeness. So they had to change it just enough, and they like said, all right, if we take this out and this out, does this meet your criteria for not looking like Blade Runner machine, does this meet your criteria for not looking like Harrison Ford? And it did enough to the point that like they put it out, and you look at it and you say, well, clearly that's Harrison Ford. But you look closely at it and you can say, oh yeah, it doesn't have the scar under his lower lip. He doesn't have this. There's kind of some weird stuff going on with his eyes, and
Just a little uncanny valley on it to make it
A
not
little
him.
uncanny valley. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That makes
So,
sense. The new video game's a bit like that. They kind of have his likeness, but they kind of don't.
Yeah.
Really weird.
Yeah.
They should, you know what they ought to make? They ought to make a Air Force One pinball machine, and then you have at some point you got to get one ball from one track over to this other ball, this parallel track, but there's no way to do it except for a string. You got to like somehow swing over there and survive.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't make one of those.
That would be great. That would be great. There's Keanu Reeves also on a lot of machines. That a Johnny Mnemonic machine, probably the very same Johnny Mnemonic machine that I played at the Texas Pinball Festival, made its way over here. There's probably only 2 of those in existence. I didn't even play it. It's just like, yeah, that's great. Not playing it.
You didn't walk out on it though, really, like you did the movie.
I didn't walk out halfway through a game like I did with the Princess Bride machine. Oh, that was so disappointing.
Really? Oh,
yes, Tina and
man.
I both looked at each other and said, "Do you feel like playing this anymore? It's just not that fun." Because it's from this company called J3 that makes, or P3 that makes these modular pinball machines where you can, instead of paying for a brand new game, you buy the base unit, and then you can put all the special ramp things and parts that make it look like that game, and then the whole base of the play field is a video monitor, and so that changes to show you things that are specific to that game. So the one that I've played that actually was really cool, modular for this company, was a Weird Al Yankovic one that referenced a ton of his different songs. And that one was really cool, although it still had that same problem of big play field. Top third has a bunch of stuff. Middle third has nothing except the 2 ramps that go along the side. And then the bottom where the flippers are has some stuff. And for Princess Bride, it should have been as robust as the Labyrinth game as far as having, IP content.
I mean, the modular idea is such a great idea until you put it into practice, and then you realize you're creating some limitations potentially. I mean, there's probably a way to do this,
I think
way to do it.
If you figured out a way to have stuff in that middle third, and make it feel like you've got more than just 2 targets to hit, or 3 spinners and a couple of ramps. It's like, oh no, there needs to be more in these games to make it worth it. I probably would get bored with that Weird Al Yankovic game after a while, because as cool as all of the Easter eggs and references to his music are, it's still just up in the top third of the game, and that's it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Any other moments of memory that you'd like to share with people with your trip?
Well, I definitely want to. I've got to give a shout out to. I'll give a shout out to Rusty and Shelly at the end of this. We also saw Wang Chung. Wang Chung was playing live there on Friday night, so we everybody Wang Chunged at that night.
They did that night, and it was at night, right? Where you Wang Chung, you have to Wang Chung tonight.
You have to Wang Chung at night. You can't Wang Chung all day long. You can only Wang Chung at night.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
But they did a longer set than I would have. They did a longer set than they said they're used to for doing casinos and stuff. Kind of makes me a little sad. It's like, oh yeah, usually we have a lot of noise from the casino machines, but this is cool with all the pinball machines, and we get a chance to do a longer set. I'm like, oh, Wang Chung.
Yeah.
But they did some stuff from To Live and Die in LA. They did the song from the Breakfast Club soundtrack, which is really cool. Surprising there. They did a great Bowie cover of Moon Age Daydream.
I could hear them doing that. I could hear that. Yeah.
Their Mike, they did Dance Hall Days, of course, and then sadly their biggest hit, which doesn't sound. Everybody Have Fun Tonight. Their biggest single of all time, and it doesn't sound like anything else they've done.
No.
That's like such a little pop song, and it's kind of like Hanson's Bop. It doesn't represent everything else that the band does.
Yeah,
but it's their biggest hit.
It's like Marcy Playground with Sex and Candy, or Wheatus with Teenage Dirtbag. That's like
Teenage Dirtbag, Creep by Radiohead is another example of this. It's like,
just doesn't represent their catalog, but it's,
right.
Yeah, you know what? REM's That's Me in the Corner, that almost ruined them, in my opinion. Like, that was so overplayed and so not like the rest of their music. At least it didn't feel like it to me. So I get that.
Anyway,
awesome. Well, at least you got to see Wang Chung in the smallest venue possible. You know,
it really was. Yeah, with about 100 of my friends, and Rusty and Shelley, just awesome. They are such great people to hang out with, and they are bigwigs in this ecosphere. Everybody knows them, everybody comes up to them, and they always made a point, like when we were hanging out in a group, they always made sure that Tina and I were included and introduced to everybody and that involved in conversations. It never felt like, oh yeah, no, these are our friends from this 80s cruise that we always go on. Hold on, we're going to talk to them for a little bit, go off and do something on your own. No, we always felt like we were part of the group and included in everything. So it was great seeing them, and of course great seeing JK Grammer and Sarah, who are also very awesome. They came up just for the afternoon and then ended up just getting a room at the hotel and staying the night.
Oh, nice. That's great.
Yeah,
I love them, especially Sarah. No offense, JK, but she's amazing. You married the Eff Up, dude. I'm telling you, she's awesome. Just love her. She's like I don't even know what kind of energy it is, but when I'm around her, I don't know if things feel better. She's great.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Glad you got there. No con crud, none of that business.
No con crud. You would think, like, this would be where you get the con crud because everybo's touching.
Yeah, you're
games,
all touching
right?
stuff.
All touching the same thing. No, feel great, feel fine, and hand sanitizer all over the damn place, and a lot of hand washing, a lot of that, but
yeah,
came out clean on the other side.
That's good. That's awesome. That's how, if you can do those kind of things, there's two tricks: lots of hand sanitizer and never touching your face. If you don't touch your face,
touch the face.
You're in good shape, because it's not like it's a thing people are breathing on you. You're getting it off a joystick. So you just, if you're careful, you're good.
No.
Well, nicely done.
One quick game that I played that was so cool. Sorry. They had brought from the direct from the 90s. Do you remember these pods that they had at some arcades where you'd get in, you were driving a mech around? What was this thing called? 90s
a mech. There's
pods.
Something familiar about it being a mech.
Is it BattleTech? I think it is BattleTech.
Oh yeah, you know what? We talked about these on. Dunaway could correct me, but I think we talked about it.
Yeah.
I think we talked about these ones.
This is it right here. Oh my gosh.
Not Border Break. That was something in Japan. It is BattleTech.
No, this Battle Mech.
Battle Mech. Okay.
Or did I say BattleTech? BattleTech. Sorry, it is BattleTech.
BattleTech. Okay. No. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, this is I think the one we talked. That game's rad.
It's really rad. And so Tina and Rusty and I and some rando played, and you're just driving this mech around, and they've got, your pod is you've got 4 screens and then a big screen where you're driving everything. It's just a really, really cool setup.
Yeah,
and,
those are awesome, dude.
What a freaking blast that was.
Look at this room full of these. How cool would this be? Look at this.
Yeah, that actually I think is at the Game Preserve in Houston.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'll bet if I looked closely, based on those stickers, I could tell you the 4 that they had set up at the event that we played.
That's funny. Some of them are a little more yellowed than others.
Yes,
some of them are cleaner.
They do all have that 80s computer beige though, which is great.
Yeah, that's awesome. I used to love that game. Very rare to see it though. I think I maybe saw it twice my entire life. So that's cool that you got to hang out with that. All right, let's move on. We got a couple of guests coming in real quick.
Yeah,
we got friends of the show who we want to talk to because they got some cool stuff happening.
They totally do. Yes.
Let's see if I can find them both. Here we go. Bing, bang, bong.
Bing, bong, bong.
They don't have intro music, but if they did, it might sound something like. Let's see.
Egg Willow.
The Egg Willow.
We all want to go to a place called Egg Willow.
Oh, here you go. See, it seems nice, but it's a little discordant. Maybe it portends something darker. You never know.
Something sinister.
You never know exactly what's going to happen. But we do know this. Amy and J.F. Dubeau joining us. Hi, Amy. How are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
Good morning. It's nice to have you back. JF, it's nice to have you here for the first time on Voice anyway. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How about you guys?
Doing,
you just answered.
Doing great, man. Doing great. Don't worry. Asking twice is just as nice. That's our motto. Hey, you guys are in the thick of it. I understand there's like 2 weeks left on this project. So for those who weren't here last time Amy was here, sort of explaining the thing, why don't you guys give us another shot at what this is and why the listening audience might want to go check it out? J.F. Dubeau, you haven't had a chance to sort of spill the beans here. So tell us what this project's about, why you're excited, and where people can go.
So about 5 years ago, actually, it's going to be 5 years on the 31st on the dot. Amy and I released the first episode of our cozy horror fiction podcast, Aquilo. And it's a joint project that I started with Amy after her little jaunt on America's Next Top Podcaster. Because I realized, lady's got more potential than she's been letting on, especially on the production side. And a narration. So we worked together. We put this project together, and as time's been going on, we're on our 7th season. We finished our 7th season a few weeks ago, like maybe a month and a half ago, and we kind of came to the conclusion that if there was ever a time to translate the podcast, translate the story into a different format, make it a book, because obviously I have a thing for books. The timing was now or never.
Sure.
So we looked at our options, and I said, you know what? Let's try to strong arm my publisher, Inkshares, into publishing this title. Inkshares loves me. Like, I have a super good relationship with them, but at the same time, because we've got so many seasons of the podcast, I wanted to make sure that they were on board, and to do that, like said, let's do the entire crowd voting thing with them, show them that there's an audience, that this is a cool project with cool people and cool listeners, and that way they'll be 100% on board, and we can get this turned into a cool book.
That's awesome. You're a big fan, I know, of the Inkshares service, right? Like, you've used it a bunch, and you just mentioned you're close to them and have a great relationship with them. Do you feel like they're very author focused, like author first sort of place over there? Because people ask me, it's like, well, if I go support Tom's book or J.F. Dubeau's book or any of these books over there, how do I know the author's getting a decent cut or blah blah blah, that they're getting treated right or whatever? Is this just another scheme to give some other company a bunch of middle money?
Well, I'm going to preface by saying that I have a close relationship with Inkshares, and I was at the CEO's wedding a couple of years back.
Oh, jeez.
So maybe close enough to have a
connection.
bias.
Yeah,
maybe a little close enough to have a bias. But I would say the thing is with Inkshares, they don't offer advance, which sucks. But at the same time, they offer a significantly higher percentage on royalties. I think our royalties are about 35% on net.
Oh, that's good.
Which is massive compared to the standard industry.
Wow.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for examples of more traditionally higher profile people that are publishing with Inkshares, obviously, I mean, there's Tom. But you also have Gary Whitta, who published his second book with Inkshares just a few months back, Gundog. You'll know Gary Whitta. He also published Abomination with Inkshares, but he's I think he's the screenwriter for Book of Eli, but more importantly, for your interest, the one of the screenwriters for Rogue One.
Yeah.
So the fact that he went back to Inkshares for his second book is, to me, is kind of a demonstration that even outside of the close-knit circle of people who got their start with Inkshares and are working closely with Inkshares, that the company still has a good reputation.
Yeah. Amy, how excited are you for the audio? Well, I mean, the audio's kind of done, right? You don't have to do what do you have?
I mean, I'm gonna redo it. Like, that's one of our like few little concessions if we get down to signing a contract, is that I will do the audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
We are gonna re-edit it, the story and
sure.
fix some things and add some things. So it's not gonna be just like a direct slap the script in a book and now we're done.
Yeah. Well,
I've also come a long way in what we're doing in 5 years. We've been doing for our Patreon, we do these like behind the scenes episodes and like retrospectives where we go back and listen to episode by episode, and it is going back to that season 1 was a little wild. I was like, I made some choices.
Yeah, it's you really get a rude awakening when you go back and listen to your own work, your own early work, right?
Yeah, and so it's like so foundational and important to go back, it exists at all. But it's sometimes I think, like, if I go back to something that's like 10 years old, I want to die when I hear it. Yeah. So I assume that means you guys have learned a bunch of stuff. And you're gonna apply that to this final product. That must be exciting.
I do need to do a shout out to my time on ANTP because Amazon Prime Video just announced that they're doing a series on the Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist, which you all may remember.
Really? Yeah, that was
from
your food,
culinary
capers, right? Yeah.
So they're doing an
wow.
Amazon Prime series, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Is it like a documentary, or what are they doing?
I think it's a story inspired by, executive produced by Jamie Lee Curtis.
Really?
So
wow, okay.
yeah,
Well,
this is wild.
I guess she's got some money to put behind it, so
yeah, why not? So I think that's pretty funny.
No, that's
That is
great.
really cool.
It is
Out of
Canadian
nowhere.
Maple Day in 6 days.
Is it?
Is it?
What do you do to celebrate Canadian Maple Day? I'm just curious. Down here, I don't think we ever know. What do you guys do?
We're Canadians. We eat. So we're some maple syrup-inspired dishes.
they have a
obviously.
Canadian maple chugging contest, like who
Sure.
can down a stein full of maple syrup the fastest.
Big bowl of curds covered in syrup. Oh, you guys know what you're up to. Well, that's great. I'm very excited for you guys. Tell people where to go, what time you got left, and kind of what needs to happen to make this thing fly. Either one of you.
Well,
Go ahead.
I'm going to lament that. I mean, you've done Kickstarters and crowdfunding before, so you know how it is. Like your first 2 weeks are great, your last 2 weeks are great. Everything in the middle is a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
true.
we're coming on the tail end of the nightmare. So we are above half funded for the 3 months. We've only got 2 weeks left to get some like 230 pre-orders done. And we've got some good ways of kind of drumming up the interest for it. So we are ending the campaign SmackDown on the 31st of October. I mean, thematically, it's great for us. It's Halloween. This is a cozy horror book. It's also a 5th anniversary of our first episode. And what we need to get done is basically get those last 330 orders.
Nice.
We've got some awesome perks for people who order. We've got a short story that's perfect for anyone who's listened to the first season. We're getting our cover made by a legendary horror artist, Lynn Hansen. So we're looking forward to that. Anybody that orders 3 books gets a citizenship card and their very own individual address in Aquilo. We're trying to drum up some cool stuff for people.
No, that's awesome. I love that. Cool. And also, if you go, so listen, folks, go to inkshares.com and just search for Aquilo. I know you can get it off your website as well. But however you get there. Check this thing out. This is the very first sentence under the name. Somewhere between the Twin Peaks and Stardust with a touch of Hellraiser. Good Lord, if that isn't enough to get genre fans. Like
who would have thought that there was a confluence of those 3 rivers?
Yeah, and I love all 3 of those rivers. You should too love them, and go support this and help out our friends, because this is awesome. You guys, I'm very excited for you. I really want this to go through for you. So best of luck. We'll keep pounding away on it here and there to get people in there in the next couple of weeks, and just have fun doing it. It sounds like a blast.
Yeah, it is. We wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't.
Except for this middle bit. I know how that is.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Get ready for the fun of the last 2 weeks.
Yep. Again, go to inkshares.com, look for Aquilo. That's ACHE, Willow, all one word, and you'll find it right away. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for having.
Bye. Nice. Go help them out, you guys. That was not a paid promotion, by the way. We did this because we like them and we want them to succeed. All right.
Exactly. Oh, you didn't get paid.
Brian got a little Venmo in the background.
Venmo just came through. Cha-ching. Okay, good. Thanks, guys. All right, good.
That's funny. All right, we are going to dive right into the morning half-asses. Oh, before we do, real quick, I went to this place called Los Botelas.
Okay.
Which is Spanish for the bottles.
Okay. All right.
I looked it up. It was literally the bottles.
Good.
Brand new Mexican place, kind of fancier, upper scale Mexican place that opened. We've been trying to go forever. We finally had a reason. Went with some friends. It was great. I just want to put this on anyone's list that if you're out in this kind of Central Valley of Salt Lake and you're like, man, I'm in the mood for Mexican and I'm okay paying, a little more. This place is awesome. It's so good. It's called Los Botelas. And here's the best part. We're out there. We're on the outside eating. They do tableside guac, and all that. Mm-hmm. Just an amazing experience. All beautiful, nice music and everything. But out of nowhere, dancers come out, like flamenco dancers.
Oh, nice.
And
yeah.
that's fine. That's great. Little entertainment, whatever. We were there long enough to see it twice. But
did Mr. Jones like one of them?
No, Mr. Jones did not like one of those.
Okay.
Deep cut. So this couple comes out, and I see the guy first, and he's suited up to the wrists with like a very Latin suit, and frills and all this. But ankle to wrist covered up man. He swings around. The girl is roughly naked. Hardly. I can't even believe you can do it. I was just shocked by it, and some of it was because it was skin toned accessories and stuff. But she was really skimpy, hardly anything on this girl.
Wow.
And so they're over there boogieing by my table, just right next to me. I'm on the outside of this little curved table, and I'm just kind of. Yeah, and my wife's like, yeah.
Was it like, oh, this is really cool, but now you're kind of staying an uncomfortably long time at my table.
Yep.
And you need to kind of keep it moving.
You need to keep it moving. There's other tables. Just keep moving.
Yeah.
And my friend Darren was just grinning at me because he was like, oh my gosh, look at the show we're getting. Anyway, still, I mean, it was fine. And I'm not a prude. It was fine. It was just weird and caught me off guard. And that place is really good food. The food was insane. So good. I had these steak tacos that I thought were going to be average, and they were amazing. They were so good.
We had some Mexican. Oh, sorry. Go
I was just going to say, it's your fault I did it, but I watched that Casa Bonita Mi Amor immediately. That thing is so good.
It's such a great documentary.
I laughed so hard.
Funny. Yeah, so funny throughout. And you're looking how did this place even survive? Or make it through inspections, let alone get bought. But yeah,
it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. If you guys have Paramount Plus, you got to watch it. There's moments like Trey Parker was doing the animatronic greeter. I was losing my shit. He's like, "Howdy, partner. You look hungry. Come on in." It was something about the way he was doing that. I was laughing so hard. It's
and he
so
was doing
good.
it for such a long time. He was doing it just randomly, in the middle of them looking, inspecting, and other things. Hey, partner, are your parents recently divorced?
Yeah. Are you a single dad bringing your kid to a thing? It was really funny, and also kind of, there's a lot of money it had to get spent. It's insane, that thing. The whole thing's crazy.
And a very, very small scale of this was the Coverville 500 experience in Vegas, where oh, cool, we're going to get that venue for X amount of money. That's exactly what I was going to pay at the other place. Your guys are awesome. Thanks for making it work. And then it's oh, no, you need to pay the union for moving tables and chairs. Oh, you need to buy drink tickets for everybody because there's not going to be an open bar. Oh, you need to pay for this. You need a green room for the bands, for the artists. Crap. And it turned. I had a little bit of PTSD watching this thing for remembering.
It was. The other thing that's what's funny about it is we finished it, or I finished it, and Kim's like, "All right, we're going out with the Sanders. What do you guys want to? Where do we want to go?" And I went, "I am in the mood for Mexican. A little bit of a higher up, more of an entertaining
experience, or more of a
and I wasn't going to get anything there near Casa Bonita, but I thought let's try it, and then we got the half naked lady dancer, so it was good.
Yeah, so you did get something. Yeah, nice.
Worked out all right. Sorry, you were going to say something before I got off on that.
Oh, just we had obviously had some Mexican food in Houston because there's a lot of that to be had, a lot of really good places, but I'm still craving a visit to Casa Bonita and the not quite as good as the Mexican food that we had in Houston, just for that experience, and also because I just want to help. I want to help Matt and Trey recoup some of the money that they
they're $40 million they pushed. Actually, there's a lesson in that documentary about committing to a thing and then seeing it through. You know what I mean?
Yes.
If you have the resources, and they do, so that's helpful. But
they do, so that definitely helps. But you definitely need. You need to.
Anybody else would have cut rope after the $3 million and went
right.
We're
it just said, you know what? Screw it. Let's call it a loss and a learning experience.
You could almost make more money by tearing it down, and then the value of the real estate would be more valuable. But they were like, no, the whole point of this is to have this thing exist and bring my childhood back. And it was obviously Trey's big thing. Matt Stone seemed to a little bit like, I'm here. I'm doing it with him. I'm doing it, but it's not really my thing. And,
Definitely was more a Trey thing. Yeah, for sure.
Really enjoyed it.
And listen, you could see at parts right? Where Trey Parker doesn't look like he did when we first saw him doing the South Park thing.
Yeah.
And when he's fully shaved on his face and wearing a suit, he's kind of unrecognizable. And so when he's coming over and bringing us a plate of cookies, you can kind of see why we wouldn't recognize him.
I could totally see what happened there. Absolutely. he's like us. He's aging like us, and it's fun to watch.
He's aging like us, and it's totally fine. And yeah,
Matt Stone seems to be not aging at all, and I don't like that. I don't know what's going on.
I'm just so glad that wasn't something that got referenced in the documentary. Oh yeah, we
there was this guy that came in.
Guy didn't even recognize us. We were like 2 doors down from Casa Bonita, and I sound just like Cartman, but how do you not recognize me?
That's awesome. All right, well, let's dive into one of these deals right here. That music signifies the arrival of one Brian Dunaway. Brian, thanks for being patient and showing up a little later than usual. How are you doing, man?
Oh, hi, Scott and Brian. How are you doing?
Well, you're doing better because you got internet back and power and all that shit.
I'm all kinds of patient now. I got power and internet. I can just sit back and kick my feet up. And no, I'm still super busy, but still.
Yeah. But you know what? The fact that hurricane came and went and left so much tragic destruction in its wake.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you fared better than not that I want to. I don't want to say, I'm sure glad it was you. I'm glad it was somebody else. And I don't mean that. Yeah. But I just mean, we're glad our pal Brian's okay. That's all.
Yeah. Look, I've never been about comparing my pain to others. I'm sure other people have suffered more. Other people have suffered less. Mm-hmm. I'm just an average sufferer.
That's right. You suffer for your art, and that's all we need. Well, it's good to have you here. We're going to play a game. Oh, I haven't logged in. I should do that.
You have not, but you can log in while I tell everybody how we play this game. Welcome to the Morning Half-Ass. This is a trivia game where I'm actually going to be giving you the answers. I'll give Scott and Brian a category and 6 possible answers, 3 of which are correct, and 3 like that crow or that raven that keeps, or hawk that keeps eating pigeons and killing them and dropping them on the roof at Casa Bonita are just plain wrong. Mm-hmm. Depending on how confident they feel with the category, they can provide 1, 2, or 3 guesses, but if any of those guesses are wrong, you get 0 points for that round. Get 1 right, you get a point. 2 right gets you 3 points, and 3 right gets you a whopping 5 points for that round. The player with the most points after 3 rounds wins the prize for their contestant. You guys are playing for people I've pulled from the Tadpool that aren't able to listen live. Scott, you're playing for Gene in Brooklyn, New York.
Woo, Brooklyn! What's the song? I can't think of the song. Something till Brooklyn.
No sleep.
No sleep till Brooklyn.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, Gene knows Marianne from Brooklyn, those of you who are fans of the Howard Stern show. Brian, you're playing for Josh, who lives just down the street from Scott.
Nice. Oh, I know that Josh.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, Josh is great. He should win things. I'm not that I don't want Brooklyn guy to win, but I'm just saying.
Do you just want to lay down the gun, like just throw the match right now?
I think he's counting on me losing. I don't know. Maybe that's the deal.
Nice.
He knows me well.
All right, let's go ahead and get things started with question number 1. No hands and no buzzers for this one. You're going to tell me which of these 6 things match the category. 3 of them are right, 3 of them are wrong. Which of these are a type of knot? The figure 8 loop, the double magnum, the Siberian hitch, the moccasin bend, the cat shank, and the Demench twist.
Ooh, the double magnum isn't what you think it is.
Twist.
Demench twist.
I'd like a box of the double magnums. All right, well, 3 of these are right, so they must be somewhat right.
Right.
Let's see here. I'm going to go with... even though that one sounds like condoms, I'm still clicking it. All right.
Oh, cat shank.
Going with that.
Sounds like
Yeah.
All right. You guys selected 3 correct answers, but which of you, and you only did 2 each, right? So each of you selected 2 choices, but between the 2 of you, you selected all 3 correct answers.
Oh, wow.
Siberian hitch.
Yeah.
Is correct.
Nice.
Oh,
They all sound like sex moves too, by the way. Every one of
they
these.
Totally do. Give her the old Siberian hitch, if you know what I mean.
The moccasin bend.
Cat shank.
Yeah.
Shank to keep your cat tethered, I guess. That is also correct. So now it's between figure 8 loop and double magnum to determine which of you is getting some points.
Well, I feel pretty good about this.
It is a figure 8 loop. Yeah, double magnum. I don't know what the double magnum is, but that does sound like a sex move. But it ain't.
I've seen that illustration for how to do the figure 8 loop like a million times on the internet. So it's like, yeah, that's one. Click.
It's similar to a bowline, I think, right? Because you're creating a loop and then you're going through the loop to create a almost like a noose kind of thing.
Like a figure eight, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right.
That's all right. That's okay. We got another couple questions for Scott to catch up. Brian going in the next round with 3 points.
Yeah, it was
And,
an upset last time. Remember, Scott waited till the very last and he came through.
He
Oh,
did.
yeah, I did. That's right.
Might happen again.
Mhm.
Question number 2. This is funny because this actually got discussed in Savannah, and Brian said there's no way I'd remember any of this anyway, so it doesn't matter. But when we were watching Return to Oz, we said, "Oh, I wonder how many books L. Frank Baum wrote about Oz," and we found out there were like 25 or something. Which of these are books in the Oz series by L. Frank Baum or Baum?
Baum.
I'm doing both ways so that I'm guaranteed to get a thread message from Free Hotel Room about my pronunciation.
I meant, you know what I was actually going to tell JF when we had him is he's like all the authors that are big and awesome. They all have initials.
Initials.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
That's a big deal, I think.
Even some authors that are not awesome use initials.
Yeah, that's true.
Initials. Yeah.
There's a few of those.
There's one very specific one I'm not going to mention. All right, let's get to your choices here. The Flying Monkeys of Oz, Ozma of Oz, The Patchwork Girl of Oz, Harriet in Oz, Endless Oz, and Rinky Tink in Oz. 3 of those are actual books in the Oz series by L. Frank Baum. 3 of them are fake-a-roni.
Well, I want Flying Monkeys, but I don't think that's right. So I'm going to go with something else.
Okay.
I meant to study this. I knew I should have studied it.
Oh, really?
I know I didn't. I didn't study it. I knew I should have studied it.
Yeah.
Just
how many books did we say it was?
It's 3.
16?
Oh, that he actually wrote. I thought it was in the 20s, was it not?
Okay, maybe so.
Because
I can't even remember.
There were 5 volumes in the Amazon set, and each one I think had 4 or 5 books in each volume. Yeah, it's.
And Scott doesn't think there's any Flying Monkeys of Oz in that list of 20-something books.
I mean, that seems like such a dumb title, but I don't know. Let's see how we do.
Well, I will tell you again that you guys did not overlap each other. The 3 you selected, between the 2 of you, the 3 you selected were Ozma of Oz, The Patchwork Girl of Oz, and Rinky Tink in Oz.
Rinky Tinky Tink.
Rinky Tinky Tinky Tink. And all 3 of those are correct, meaning
Brian
gets a point. Scott gets 3 points.
All
well
right.
done.
All right, within striking distance then.
You are absolutely within striking distance, and don't accidentally choose Ozzy and Harriet. I mean Harriet in Oz.
I wondered if that was the thing there. Endless Oz seemed probable to me. Endless did, but I didn't choose it.
Endless Oz, yeah. No, I think the one thing we did notice about all the books is they all had Rinky Tink in Oz, so that one doesn't follow the format.
So there's ofs and ins, and that's about it, eh?
There's ofs and ins. Yes.
All right. All the ins of Oz.
Oz ever after. Let's get to question number 3. I'm going in with 4 points. Scott going in with 3. That was going to get to 7.
Whoop, you cut out a little. Okay, come back.
Now we're gonna see. Basically, just was doing some flavor text to just say it all comes down to this: words spelled differently in American English and British English. So we know there are words that are pronounced differently between the two, but what about words that are spelled differently? Your choices are parallel, yogurt, potassium, jewelry, curb, and truly. Which 3 of these are spelled differently in British English?
So what we have here is our spellings, right? Just
like color versus color.
What you're looking at here are the American spellings of all those words. Okay. Right. Color is a good example.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope this is the American spellings because they all look right. All right.
Yeah. Oh, Lord. This is a hard one.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that one.
Yeah, I definitely feel like
I'm going to go
with... Some of these words, does it seem like they would exist in both places?
Right.
Right,
there's no potassium in the UK, oddly enough.
Yeah, their bananas have something else in it. It's like
I think I remember these.
Photassium.
All right.
Okay.
All
right, you've locked in. You guys both locked in on yogurt. That is correct. Yeah, it's yogurt.
Yeah,
yogurt
with an H.
Yeah, with an H.
Between the G and the U in the UK.
I've seen that one before.
Jewel.
Oh, you cut out again. All I heard was Jew.
Jewels from the jewels.
Jewelry is another thing that you guys both locked in on. Two
Yeah, I knew that
L's
one.
in the British English jewelry. Curb,
Just guessing.
which Brian
Total
selected,
guess. Total-
is also correct, meaning Brian wins it with 9 points total. Scott with 3.
Gosh,
Curb in the
dang
UK
it.
is Kerb.
Really?
I was about to say,
really-
I didn't think Curb would be something they would have at all. So yeah.
Do
just
they?
the
Okay, when
Americanism.
when they watch Curb Your Enthusiasm over there, do they get a different spelling on the logo and stuff? Or
That'd be interesting to see. Or do they go, what is this Curb Your Enthusiasm? Are we going to watch some Curb Your Enthusiasm?
yeah, I wonder about that. Zoe, you'd have to tell us. That's crazy. I didn't know about Curb.
Yeah.
Jewelry and yogurt. I think I knew those for sure. The rest were completely up.
I
in
was
the air.
hoping you guys would get thrown by Truly, but which
How else would you spell parallel? I was trying to think of different
Right.
ways you could do that, and I'm like,
Do
couldn't think of nothing.
Pair LL, like another E instead of an A, maybe, or yeah.
And potassium's a proper name.
Words,
But
by the way.
You can't mess around with that one.
Yeah.
No.
Truly scared me though with the EY.
Right, because yes, exactly, or a
Yeah.
UL or UELY,
Oh,
right? Because
right.
you could also see that one.
Yeah.
Jewelry also has another E as well. But yeah, parallel, one of the greatest words ever because you've actually got parallel lines in parallel because of those
smart.
L's. Yeah,
never-
it's unlike
I never even thought of that. That's
What about
it's unlike-
circle? Circle has a C in it. With
yeah, circle should have an
almost a
O. It should be CIRCOLE.
Yeah,
Circle.
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 I like that.
Circle.
Everything
Yeah.
about a shape should have that shape in the word.
Exactly. I know we don't have any letters that look like squares or triangles, but we should invent one just to put in those two words.
Well, triangle has an A, so technically it's got the
oh yeah.
the
Good
angle,
point. Yes.
but not
Does
really.
have,
It's missing
if you
the
trim
line.
off the little feet, then the A is a triangle.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We've all learned a little something today. I like that.
Very
Fantastic.
good. All right. Congratulations, though, going out to Brian and to Scott neighbor Josh down the street from Scott.
Yep.
Who's going to be getting the prizes. Here are the prizes you're getting because the person who we tried to give these away to Yana and we couldn't. You stuck at parking.
Amazing.
And Lost Eidolons.
I don't know that one, but first one's great.
Those games are going to Josh. But Gene in Brooklyn, you're actually getting a game called We Were Here Forever, which requires two people. And I know somebody in your circles who would be the perfect other person to play We Were Here Forever with you. So it's an escape room game that requires two people, and I think you will have a blast with that.
That's
So,
awesome. Getting
Congratulations.
both codes. What a rarity here. That's amazing. Well done, everybody involved, except Dunaway, who beat me, and I'm pissed at him.
Oh, but you murdered me last week, so
Yeah.
it's okay.
Well,
all is balanced in the world.
Plus, you and I yesterday morning had a great time on Play Retro. We did Chowaniki finally. You had internet back. It was a glorious moment of video and audio, and we put it up for you guys. We delayed it, so hoping he can get internet, and it worked. So now, what do you have to look forward to? Well, him on Wednesday, and then again another Play Retro on Friday. Good Lord, the content coming out of this
So
hole.
much stuff.
So
Yeah.
good. We're going postal for Halloween this year because that game's kind of creepy.
Kind of Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Postal, a controversial, very old game
Yeah.
now, and we're not doing Postal 2, which is considered one of the worst games ever made.
I'm going to play a little postal too.
Yeah.
I've heard some people say they like it. You know how it is.
Woof. It's
For
bad.
every piece of poo, there's a fan.
There's always a fan where there's poo. Always leave the fan on when there's a poo. Hey, Brian, kiss
Yes,
our butts,
yes.
and we'll see you soon.
No, you.
Bye now. All right. There he goes. We're going to take a break. Somehow we did that. We worked that out to get all within the hour. I don't know how we did it, but
Kind
we
of
did it.
perfect, actually.
Yeah, I'm a little blown away. So, Brian, let's go straight into it. Why don't you tell me what song we're splitting things up with here?
Yeah, this is a band called Die, D-Y-E. Don't worry, not D-I-E, no. And they're, just as emotional in their song title choice. This is a song called Feel. It's a chromatic reckoning of self, according to the description on here. Die is, it's actually a really cool abbreviation of the artist's name. His name is Daniel Yee. And this is their latest.
Oop, you cut out that last bit.
Man, I'm getting cutting out a little bit, a lot today.
You went with latest. Last word I heard was latest. Here is their latest, and then you
the latest single, Feel, which is an attempt to turn back time and be kinder to himself. Listen to Feel, brand new single from Die.
If they were real shit cones, you could use them as manure to fertilize food. I would rather buy shit, literally shit,
that's worth something, because a good fertilizer, than buying shit coins.
That is grade A 100% bull cookies.
And we've returned. Tell me one more time who that was.
Sure, that's a band called Dye, D-Y-E, actually an artist who goes by the name Dye. And brand new single from them called Feel.
Nice. Everyone should feel a little something.
Everyone should feel, but not feel dye, because your fingers will get all messy.
Yeah, don't do that. I recommend not doing that.
Yeah, don't do that.
All right, let's get our old pal Steven in here.
And now welcome Steven to the show. He's a huge freaking nerd.
$1 bills, y'all.
This is the truth. He is a huge freaking nerd, and he joins us a couple times a month to talk about some pop culture, some comics, some other stuff. And he's here with us now. Steven, welcome back to the show. How are you?
Hello, Scott. Hello, Brian. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Oh, thank goodness. You know, having you here, it just brings the academia into the show a little bit. You know
today's midterms. Midterm grades are due. Guess how many students are like complaining about their grades until I say, you didn't turn in your projects.
You want like a percentage?
If I turn it in, can you change my grade? No.
Well, let me give you I'm going to guess a percentage. The percentage of your students who are complaining that their grade sucks, I'm going to say 65%.
It's lower than that.
Lower than that.
Good.
But
yeah.
And here's something that's interesting, because most people think about the bell curve, and that it's an even distribution. It's actually not. The even distribution, and of course Bobby can talk more about this next week. But when you're a freshman, there's a lot more D's and U's favoring that side of the bell curve, as when you're opposed to a senior, and there's a lot fewer. There's a lot more A's and B's on that side of the bell curve.
Oh, interesting.
Or just the curve.
I've never really truly fully understood the curve. I admit. I've never.
It's in an ideal curve. It's shaped like a bell, high in the middle, and so in the grading scale that people understand, most people should get a C. That means they're doing average. And so that's where the most of the grouping should be at. There should be very few people, about 3% that are going to flunk, about 3 to 6% that are going to get A's, and then about 33 or so to 40% are all in that C category, and the rest kind of fall out into the D and the B range.
Yeah. Well, here's a look at why my brain's so stupid. You say bell curve, and when I was in high school, I would hear bell curve, or college, and this is what I would do. It's meant to be a simple visual representation. It's shaped like a bell.
Yeah.
But I, in my head, go, all right, but what about the little ding-dong thing at the bottom? Does that get counted as something
believe me,
extra?
those are the ones that are complaining about their grades this morning.
Yeah, they're all the ding-dongs.
But I think about all these little details, like, is there a ring at the top that's being held on? How's it being... Like, I get way
you
wrapped
really
up
visualize. You want to visualize the entire bell. Sure.
Yeah, no, like a 3D bell is what appears in my head, and it doesn't match with the simpleness of what we're supposed to be doing. So I'm not made for that crap. I'd be down in your little ding-dong area. That's where I'd be.
Right.
Yeah.
I'd be down in Steven's ding dong. That's where I'd be.
I like the lake bell curve. That's the one that I follow.
Oh yeah, the lake bell curve. She gives me good grades. Let's just say that. Kim's not around. All right, hey Steven, let's get into it. We want to talk about this. There's a great opportunity once in a while to talk about the Green Lantern, or the Lantern Corps, because sometimes it comes up. It's like, we had conversations back when there was a movie and it was bad, and we talked about it then. Sometimes the comics have a cool story thing going on or whatever. But right now, it seems like we might be headed toward Green Lantern-ageddon. In a good way, perhaps.
Yeah, in a good way. So,
Sure.
A couple of things. Probably the biggest news that has come out in the last couple of weeks is they've kind of finished the casting for the Green Lanterns for the upcoming Lanterns with an S series coming to HBO. Now, this is going to be an HBO original instead of a Max original, and it's going to be 8 episodes long. And so far, they've cast Kyle Chandler. You know him from Friday Night Lights. He will play Hal Jordan. And then Aaron Pierre, if you've seen him in Rebel Ridge, the new movie on Netflix.
Oh, yes.
He is going to play John Stewart.
Yeah.
And I think he does kind of have a good look for John Stewart, I think.
No one has to believe me. No one has to believe me when I say this. All right, you don't have to believe me. But I'm going to tell you this, and I promise you it's the truth.
Listen to me now, but believe me later.
I watched Rebel Ridge, and when I did, at the end of it, I said, he would be a great John Stewart. And then it happened, and I was thrilled.
Yeah.
You don't have to believe me, but I'm telling you that was in my head because this guy was made to play this role. Also, if you haven't seen Rebel Ridge, It is fan-effing-tastic.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. And I think what makes it work for him being Jon Stewart is in the comic books, Jon Stewart has a military background. He's a former Marine, and Aaron Pierre plays somebody who is in the military in Rebel Ridge. And so he's got the build for it. He's probably got the training for it and those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. Now, the interesting thing about this Lanterns series is here's how they're describing it. New recruit Jon Stewart and Lantern legend Hal Jordan, two intergalactic cops drawn into a dark Earth-based mystery as they investigate a murder in the American heartland.
Mm-hmm.
What does that sound like to you guys? I mean, if I were to say, what are some other shows or movies that you may
True
trigger off
Detective.
of this? Oh, hey, that's really great, Brian, that you said True Detective, because the series is co-written by Chris Mundy, who did True Detective and Night Country. He also did Ozark. He's one of the writers on that. He's going to also serve as the showrunner. And then we also have Damon Lindelof of Watchmen and The Leftovers fame. He will be a co-writer and executive producer on the series. And then Tom King, the comic book writer, especially the writer of the upcoming Supergirl movie, which we've talked about before. Yeah. He is also serving as a writer and executive producer on this.
Tom King is having a moment. That guy is awesome. I love his writing.
Yeah, he's pretty controversial. Some people really like his stuff. Some people think that he dives too much on psychological trauma to drive his stuff, but that's fine. And then you have James Hawes, who will direct the first two episodes of the Lantern series. Now, he directed, if anyone is a fan of the show Slow Horses on Apple TV, if you haven't watched it, you better be watching it because it's a damn fine show. Hawes directed the entire
season.
Hawes directed all of the episodes of the first season of Slow Horses.
That first season was really good.
Wow.
That's great.
He has also directed episodes of Raised by Wolves, Black Mirror, and Penny Dreadful.
So what you're saying to me is we're going to actually get a really good Green Lantern Corps.
I'm hoping so. But here's the thing. A lot of people may be confused because a lot of our listeners out there, Scott, may be saying, well, wait, didn't I hear that Nathan Fillion was playing Green Lantern in an upcoming movie? And yes, he will be playing Green Lantern Guy Gardner in James Gunn's Superman movie.
Do you think we get any crossover from
Probably
him?
not.
Probably not. I don't know.
It would be interesting, but I just think that
he'd be down
based on this dark Earth-based mystery and the fact that James Gunn tends to be a little bit more lighthearted when he comes to his dark stuff. I don't think we're going to see the crossovers on this. Yeah. But this also brings up the question that a lot of people may have. Why are there so many dang Green Lanterns here on Earth?
Yeah. What is that? Can you answer that in a succinct way? Can you tell us what happened? Why?
Yeah, sure. Because we think that we on Earth, just like New York City thinks they're the center of the universe, everyone on Earth thinks that they are the center of the universe, and therefore every Green Lantern must be from Earth. Okay, so the real story is that the universe is divided into 3,600 sectors. And so there is supposed to be originally one Green Lantern for every sector. And Earth was located in Sector 2814. That's a good trivia question for the future, Brian.
Yeah, hold on to that one. Yeah.
2814. Committing it to memory right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
However, there are now 7,204 Green Lanterns to monitor those 3,600 sectors. And a lot of them do come from the Earth Sector 2814.
All right. So
just doing the math, there's more than two lanterns for every sector now. So perfect. So buddy cop in every sector.
Yeah, that makes
pretty
sense.
much, right? So pretty much, and that's kind of the way it started, right? So when we look at just Green Lanterns from Earth, of course, Alan Scott, who's the OG Green Lantern, he's not really a space cop. He got his powers from a magical ring that he can basically do the Green Lantern stuff, except that his is weak to magic and also to wood. So if somebody attacked Alan Scott with a bat, he wouldn't be able to defend himself.
I love that so much. That's so stupid.
Magic and wood. So Harry Potter would be like,
Oh, yeah. It would stab him with that wand.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like
Stabbisimo.
Yeah. Make sure you put him in a sector where there's no planets known to have any kind of wood or trees growing. Because
the Hogwarts galaxy. Yeah.
Right.
So
away from
in the 1950s, DC Comics decided that they needed to update their cast of characters and put more science and space into their comics because who wants to read, stuff that their parents read? And so that's where we were introduced to Hal Jordan, who was a test pilot. He showed up in Showcase number 22 in 1959. He got his ring from Abin Sur, who was the previous Guardian of 2814. And he crash landed on Earth as his dying wish was to send the ring out to find somebody who was strong and had a strong will that could wield the ring, and it picked Hal Jordan. And the only thing that they really changed with this version is that they were space cops, number one, and that the rings are susceptible to the color yellow.
Yeah.
And so that's where we see Sinestro come up, and where we see yellow being the big issue with Green Lantern.
When they do that yellow thing, which I was familiar with, but it always annoyed me because I don't understand the extent of it. If somebody's wearing a yellow T-shirt at a concert and shows up there, he's averse to that. He can't deal with it.
I mean, he certainly wouldn't be able to take off their shirt.
Well, not with his powers. He could probably do it with his hands, but not using.
Okay, so if he's going to save a load of people with one of his big giant green hands he conjures up, anybody in yellow is just shit out of luck.
Fall right through his hand.
He could grab their pants or grab them by the leg if they weren't wearing yellow on that.
So the banana costume.
Grab them by something else, because if you're a Green Lantern, you can get away with it.
That's right. But if you're a big banana costume guy, you're hosed. You may as well just forget it.
You would have a lot of problems with that. In fact, in All-Star Batman and Robin, which is a controversial series from Jim Lee and not Mark Miller, Alan Moore.
Yeah,
I think that's right. In one of the sequences, Batman lures Hal Jordan into a room that he has painted completely yellow. Everything in the room is yellow, including Batman's costume has been painted yellow. Batman makes a joke about, would you like a drink of lemonade? And then completely proceeds to beat the crap out of Hal Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So a lot of people think that Hal Jordan is a bit of a jerk, but the real jerk was the second Green Lantern of Earth in this updated version, and that's Guy Gardner, a very jingoistic, red-blooded American male who showed up in 1968.
Yeah.
At one point, the thinking was, well, what happens if something happens to Hal Jordan, or what if he's off planet? Wouldn't it make sense to have a backup Green Lantern? And so that's where we went from 3,600 Green Lanterns to 7,200 Green Lanterns. And that worked for a while until people were like, hey, let's just keep adding Green Lanterns. And Neil Adams in 1971 said, well, if you look up the makeup of Earth, why do we have two white Green Lanterns? There should be a black Green Lantern, and that's where we get John Stewart to come in. And honestly, I think John Stewart is probably the more popular and probably more well-known of all of the Green Lanterns, only because of the Justice League Unlimited series.
Yeah, people loved that. I loved that. It was amazing. And from then on, he kind of became my Lantern. So I'm curious. That's going to be a fun juxtaposition, though, right? Because you got Hal Jordan, your old timer, right?
Yeah, I'm too old for this crap.
Yeah, and then you got your young, bright-eyed upstart over here, and John Stewart. I just feel like that's a fun combo. They're gonna have a good time with that.
Yeah. So there are some things that I think could be really interesting about this, especially when you think about what the Green Lanterns represent. They represent the police.
Yeah,
and you have somebody who is a black man who is now a policeman.
Yep.
And are they going to be diving into any of the topics like police brutality of black people?
They might.
Is that going to be a subject? Certainly, we saw with Lindelof with Watchmen.
Oh yeah, Watchmen got very into issues. Exactly. I think that's probable, and I like that. Make it a little bit more real. How does Hal Jordan? Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say they could certainly go, because it's in Middle America. They could certainly kind of lean into the what was it? The Heroes, where Green Lantern, Hal Stewart, Hal Jordan, and the Green Arrow went traveling across America, and they were dealing with more social issues. This was also something that was a Neil Adams thing in the late 60s, early 70s, of where they were just traveling across the land, seeing what this America was really like, and they were encountering racism and a bunch of other things that they had to deal with. So a lot of that, I think, might be some themes that show up in this TV show.
How come Hal Jordan never ages? What's his deal? If you're in the Corps,
nobody ages. Nobody ages in comic books. Everybody is eternally 33 years old.
Okay. But I mean, in this case,
green foundation, no yellow, rouge, no yellow foundation.
But there's nothing in there about he's a pilot in the 40s or whatever, and then
no.
Okay.
No, everybody in comics, there's always a shifting time scale. Like when Tony Stark was first around, it was like Korea, I believe, and then it shifted to Vietnam, and then in the most recent versions, we see it the first Gulf War, that kind of stuff. So there is that kind of shifting thing. And the same thing is going to happen with John Stewart. He was a military guy in his first incarnation, but that was like Vietnam era stuff, and now we're going to shift that up to whatever the current conflict is.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, some recent thing.
Interesting to note, Jon Stewart is only the third black superhero at DC Comics, all the way in 1971.
Hold on, can I guess the others? You said DC.
Black Lightning was before that.
Black Lightning came after Jon Stewart. He is the first one. Black Lightning is the first one to have an ongoing title starring a black superhero.
I was with Brian. I thought I was sure that was before that, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Who else is there?
Yeah, there's a bunch of them that they, when we talk about black characters in comics, we've got Ralph Jackson, who was probably what we considered the first hero. He was it's a military comic. So I don't think we can call him a black superhero. And then, of course, we have Easy Company, which has some black characters. We had a team, again, not led, but Molo of the team, the Sea Devils, in 1965 had a black character. We have Buona Beast in 67 as a hero. The Secret Six had a team member on it. It wasn't until we get to Mal Duncan and Bumblebee in 1970 where we see black superheroes donning costumes and doing superhero stuff as part of the Teen Titans. And then, of course, we get Jon Stewart in 71, Nubia from Wonder Woman in 73, Black Lightning in 77, then Cyborg in 89 as the first black character to lead a superhero team. And then, of course, Static in 1993 as kind of focusing the entire story on black characters and black heroes.
On the Marvel side, you got obviously Black Panther, and you got Luke Cage, and you got there's got to be more than that. Miles Morales.
Oh, sure. Miles Morales certainly is mix.
Yeah, he's a mix. But I'm just trying to think like
70s. Brother Voodoo.
There you go. Storm's a good one. Brother Voodoo. What was his deal?
He became Sorcerer Supreme after
Strange,
making sparkly circles.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome.
You have and DC has others too. There's Black Racer, Flipper Dipper from Jack Kirby. So there's been a lot of characters, but when you look at number one, the definition of a superhero, of what we normally look at as a superhero, and then especially when we look at them as leads in titles or headlining their own book, there's very, very few.
Yeah, that's interesting. Dr. Calhoun says, Brother Voodoo was a black man who did voodoo. Nice. Thanks, Dr. Calhoun. I appreciate the clarification. Thanks for the clarification.
We are not done with the Green Lanterns of Earth. We've got Kyle Rayner, who came about in 94.
Oh, yeah, right.
He was of Mexican-Irish descent. He was a cartoonist from California. Simon Baz was introduced with the New 52. He's Middle Eastern descent. Then we have Jade, who is Alan Scott and Rose Canton's daughter. She's
she's cool, dude.
Yeah, and she became a Green Lantern when Kyle Rayner and her were dating, and Kyle gave her his backup ring or a spare Green Lantern ring, and so she was a Green Lantern for a while. Then more recently, and I would say in the last 5 years, we've got Jessica Cruz, who debuted in 2018. She is a hero that suffers from PTSD and crippling anxiety, so that makes her very interesting as a character.
Was that the one where they did like a cyberpunky kind of planet thing? It was like almost like a, what am I thinking
of? That is our last one, Sojourner Joe Mullen, from the Far Sector series in 2019, where she was a Green Lantern of Earth. The Guardians of Oa came to her and said, we will give you this power of the Green Lantern, and you can become a Green Lantern and use this power for 1 year, or you lose it completely. And she's like, okay. And they're like, all right, we're going to send you to the opposite side of the galaxy, and you're going to solve a crime and take care of business on this really crazy planet that, as you said, is very techno-based. Right. And if people want to read the Far Sector series, it's really cool. It's kind of like Lethal Weapon and Tango and Cash type story. So it's really kind of neat. So
yeah, I really liked Far Sector a lot. That was awesome. I read that based on your recommendation. I think it was you.
Yeah. So those are probably the most well-known Green Lanterns of Earth. Again, you could probably think of a little bit of Earthism. Aren't we great? Aren't we the center of everything? Yeah, of course. There are a number of other Green Lanterns who are from Earth who are currently dead for one reason or another. One of them being Hal Jordan killed all of the Green Lanterns at one point.
Jeez.
When he became
Dick move.
What was his evil version? I forget what his evil version was.
It wasn't the Black, because Black Lantern was a whole different thing.
No, that was a whole different. That was a whole different thing.
Shallow Hal. I don't know what you'd call him.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's you know what? And we not only got some great information about the upcoming series, but a real 101 on how all this shit works.
Totally.
Yeah.
There was no Green Lantern parallel in the Starjammers, was there? Because the Starjammers were kind of like the X-Men Justice League, but there really wasn't a Green Lantern.
I'm trying to think if there was a power-based
energy, like
anybody off the top of
things
my
out
head.
of energy.
Yeah.
Huh.
All right.
Before I go, though, Scott, let's loop this back around to what we were talking about at the very beginning of my segment here, where we're talking about the bell curve.
Sure.
There is actually a sector in space that has no light.
Yeah.
And so what do you do when all the creatures there have no sight or have no vision? And part of the power of the Green Lantern ring is to will things that you can imagine in your mind into life. Well, there is a character called Eff Bell, and everything is sound-based for that character.
Wow.
So we'll tie the bell curve and the Green Lanterns together.
They really
bring it back around.
And his name is F Sharp. Is that
F Sharp Bell?
Yeah.
Wow. That is some DC bullshit right there. I love it.
There really is. No lad at the end of that. F Sharp Bell lad.
Yeah, where's the lad? Give me the lad. Steven, as always, a pleasure. Don't forget, everybody, majorspoilers.com. Anything going on there you want folks to know about?
We're just cranking stuff out every day for all of our fans worldwide and on the internet. So go check us out, majorspoilers.com. And remember, even though it's not as hot as it used to be, everybody needs to stay hydrated.
I agree with this point of view. We'll talk to you soon. All right. Oh, he left without me leaving him.
He knew how to do it.
He knew how to get the F out. So I've been dutifully keeping one eye, just the corner of my eye on my camera, because I guess T-Mobile's showing up with our phones like any second. So if for some reason I suddenly bolt running, you'll know why. Because because I have to sign is why.
You have to sign for it. You don't want the guy. They're known for like ringing the doorbell and then leaving like a fart in the wind before you can even get the door.
I know. That's why I'm going to haul ass. And my wife and daughter were supposed to be here, but instead they took Phoebe somewhere for her birthday because she's not sick anymore. And then she was like, "Oh shit, I forgot. The freaking phones are coming." And I'm like, "Can you do them?" I'm like, "I'm on the show. I don't know if I can do it." I'll do my best. All right, Brian, we're about done anyway.
Yes. Yeah.
I got a quick thing here, a theory from Dr. Nikki.
Love it. Let's hear it.
Yep, she's great. Love hearing from her. This is about the bushfish. And she has a theory about where that came from. Bushfish.
Hi, Sharpshin, Hawked, and Barred Owl. This is Dr. Nikki, your expert on all strange animals. I have a message for you about the bushfish. I can say with almost absolute certainty that was probably a fish that was dropped by an osprey, considering you're close to a body of water. Either, they fumbled and they dropped it, but most likely some other birds attacked them and made them drop it and tried to get it from them, either another osprey or like a blue jay or something. I know this because I'm a biologist, but also because my parents live in Florida and they've had bald eagles drop fish in their front yard. And that's how we found out that that's what that is. So,
America.
Love the show, though, and please contact me for any future strange animal questions. I will be your resident strange animal expert. Bye.
Excellent. We need somebody like that out there helping us with the bushfish.
And she does birding too, so like I don't know why we didn't think of her immediately. Like she's a bird.
I'm glad she heard it and offered it up, because I wouldn't have thought to do it.
No,
we will from now on, though. So there you go. I think that's probably accurate. That's some, I like the fighting idea that there were two birds in the sky, just like
totally, yeah. I forget about osprey. We get a lot of hawks here in Arvada. Like always, every time I drive by really tall light poles, like hawk on top of that one, just kind of watching stuff. But I wonder how many, if we have a lot of osprey out here.
Yeah, I think you probably have. I think we have some. We probably do. I think our climate is
probably do. I would think so too. Yeah, like if it's and maybe there's some hawks that I miss, or I'm sorry, there's some osprey that I miscategorize as hawks when I drive by them.
Oh, good point. Yeah,
I look for the white.
That's right.
Look for the white on the head.
Either way, birds are dicks, right?
I mean, yeah, they kind of are, especially geese, man. I was driving. Doing a lift ride the other day, and just slow moving geese that they know what they're doing.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
like,
they know.
We could go faster. We could fly even if we wanted to, but we're just going to walk and look at you and go,
yep.
do it.
They're jerks, man. No doubt about it.
Jerks.
Well, thank you, Dr. Nikki. She sent that via Discord, but you guys can send your messages in any way you want, 801-471-0462, or you can text us that same line if you don't want to do a voicemail. And if you'd like to, you can email us, themorningstream@gmail.com, or find us on Discord at frogpants.com/Discord. That is going to do it for today. We're going to get out of here with a little bit of music from Brian Ibbett. What'd you bring today for this?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to play this. This was going to be on Thursday, and it was going to tie in with the birthday of one of our listeners. So I actually got 2 requests from the listener celebrating birthday and from her husband. So let's read these both. Lydia Grace Bauer and John Bauer both wrote in. Said, hey, the song is your choice. I love Yellow and Queen and the Beatles, so anything in that genre makes me smile. John Bauer is my hubby and patron. We watch together. And then John wrote and said, this is birthday for Lydia Grace Bauer, my wife since 1986. My wife since 1986.
Oh, I love it. It's like a business bar that's been working
established
since
1986. Yeah. This song is our song. Love the show, though. So happy birthday. Hope you had a wonderful birthday, Lydia.
She say how old she was again? Sorry. She not say?
She did not.
All right. We're going to give her a young one.
But of course she's young.
Yeah, we'll give her a young one. Here you go.
Yesterday.
Oops, that's the wrong one.
Here's
No, that's not it. Where did my birthdays go? Oh, here we go.
Let's party.
There you go. The fart included.
Perfect.
Yep.
The song I chose, this was great because I've played some covers of Abracadabra before. That is their song. And I didn't want to go to one of those, so I went looking for a new cover of it, and I was pleasantly surprised when I found this band, Flap. F-L-A-P, exclamation point. It made me go down a rabbit hole of their music and other bands like them. This is fantastic. And I don't know if this is like your Squirrel Nut Zippers style swing, which is kind of perfect for the Abracadabra lyrics. This is a band called Flap from their album Flap from 2008. Here's Abracadabra.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Yes. Get more at frogpants.com.
Man, karaoke sucks.